Are you trying to get your shift together?
Welcome to the Shift Sisters podcast, where real conversations inspire real transformations. We're not experts, but we're experiencers. I'm Sandra.
And I'm Jennifer Richter.
We're your Shift Sisters.
Whether you're shifting like a sloth or it looks like you're having an exorcism, this is your space to breathe, reflect, and remember. We're here to talk shift with you. Welcome back, shifties. I am your spicy shift sister, Jennifer, graced with the presence of my poetic shift sister, Sandra. And we have a fantastic new shift whisperer, Jennifer Williamson, joining us today. And during this shift series, we're going to be exploring tools for like healing and insight, things that we need to help get us through the harder shifts in life. And so with starting this journey, we're going to work with a psychic medium from Long Island. And she has this amazing gift of translating the unseen things into just relatable language that you can absolutely understand. You may have even actually recognized her from, she was on this show, the TLC Unpolished, season 2, episode 2. So that's always fun to go back and watch. But today, in this conversation, she's going to help us bring psychic, mediumship, Reiki, all of that woo-woo stuff down to earth. Because we're up in our level of woo around here for sure.
Absolutely.
And, if you're curious, if you're cautious, if you're skeptical, whatever the case may be, you're all welcome, because we want you to walk away with new tools to really help you navigate these shifts like grief or career transitions and any in-between season of life to move from coping to connected. So, Jennifer, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Jennifer, every time we start off a new conversation, we'd like to start off with some opening rituals. And some of the opening rituals just set the tone for the conversation and also give us an opportunity to just check in. So the first opening ritual that we'd like to do is called our shift vibe. We want to know, what energy are you bringing to the conversation today? You can describe it as a forecast, right? You could be rainy or cloudy or a color or really anything that comes to mind when you think about how you're feeling today. So we'll do round robin and I'll get started. And today I am feeling refreshed like a cucumber. I'm feeling cool. I'm feeling centered. And green is like a sign of rebirth, right? It's like,
True.
You think about, and I don't know what happened in my sleep last night. As I said, I'm just recently celebrated a birthday and I just feel, I don't know, I just feel renewed in a different way that I haven't felt in a long time. So really excited about this conversation and feeling green and cool as a cucumber.
But don't die on the cucumber hill.
Never.
That's a joke from another one of our episodes, but I love that for you, Sandra.
Yes.
That's
I know what it is.
amazing.
Great.
Jen, what's your shift forecast?
So I'm very sunny today, not just excited to be here and talking with you, but just for the next couple of weeks and next couple of months, there's just a lot of good energy that's coming our way and people are going to see it and feel it. So definitely sunny, definitely high in the sky, definitely sunny.
That's awesome.
Not
I
high,
feel like
but up in the sky.
you can be high too. That's okay. We won't judge you.
We don't judge.
I mean, we might laugh a lot with you, but well, I'm a shit show over here because I'm like faking it till I make it kind of thing. I'm excited in one way because, as we've talked about in many past episodes about beyond symptoms and how symptoms can give you clues. And if you use those, it really can help guide you onto a path of healing instead of being discouraged. But I have been experiencing some physical symptoms of certain things in my body on and off for about a year, and it's progressively gotten worse. And I'm so happy because I do think that I have figured out the root of it, and there is a plan in place but it's not soon enough. And so physically, I feel pain and discomfort and all this other stuff. But
Hmm.
I'm also not letting it in the same way, if that makes sense. Like it's there, but I'm not letting it drive the train or whatever. So this shit show is going to fake it till I make it today. And that's just all there is to it. So,
Girl, you're doing a great job
Wow.
at it. You are. I would never, ever like feel that energy from you. So
oh, good.
I hope you give yourself some grace and some rest as well,
I
too.
will. I will. Thank
So
you.
our second ritual at the beginning of our podcast is our shift sips. And Jennifer and I really love to experiment in the kitchen and make different types of drinks. And it's not alcoholic.
But you can out.
They can be. Like I said, we don't judge, but for health benefits, just for them being tasty. And
Mhm.
we share them on the podcast. And this week I created this it's a coconut ginger cooler.
Mm.
And in this, I have coconut cream, I have some ginger, and I also have seltzer with some water. And I'm sorry, seltzer water with some lime. So it feels like, even though the weather is not really, participating, it feels like I'm on a beach somewhere. And that's the vibe and the energy that I wanted to have today.
I have a question about this. Is it ginger powder, fresh ginger, or is it your Trader Joe's ginger?
All right, you know how I'm obsessed with this Trader Joe's powdered ginger.
It's just so damn good.
It's
It
so
really
good.
is.
I know. And it's one of those like obscure products that people really don't know about. And it's
They wouldn't know
100%
about.
ginger juice. So you get that spice in the back of your throat, which I love. So I like a little spiciness, but the the coconut cream kind of balances it out, and it makes it just so smooth. So
So it mixed up okay, like with a
yes.
cold liquid?
Yes, it did. So
Interesting.
I mixed it up with the seltzer water first, and it actually dissolved. I didn't use like the whole packet, maybe half a packet, because I like
Mm,
it spicy. You might use a little less, but you could
mhm.
use regular ginger as well
I
if
love
you're a
it.
ginger lover. So,
It's easier with the Trader Joe stuff.
and then one of our other rituals is the scents that shift us, and Jennifer shares with us a pairing of oil to the
Mhm.
conversation that we're going to have. And she talks about how that can support us when diving into this type of topic. So, Jen, do you have a scent for us to explore?
I do, and I'm diffusing it over here in my mini little diffuser because
Mhm.
I realize sometimes that I don't share enough on the ways that I'm actually using it. I'm just saying, here's the oil, which today is Clary Sage. And typically, women will have had a lot of experience with Clary Sage because it helps kind of balance those hormones. But from an emotional or energetic standpoint, it helps activate clarity and vision. But Clary
Mm.
Sage assists individuals in changing their perceptions. One of the finest oils of the brow chakra, Clary Sage dispels darkness and illusion, helping individuals to see their limiting belief systems.
Mm.
It can assist during a healing crisis when a drastic change of perspective is required. Opening individuals to the dream world, Clary Sage increases the ability to visualize and imagine new possibilities. Clary Sage also teaches the spirit how to use its divinely given gifts, and it's especially helpful in clarifying spiritual vision, which is why I paired this with our discussion with Jennifer today because it
Sounds
fits
perfect.
all of her gifts.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
I love the idea of using it for opening of dreams. Like,
Well, yeah, I thought about you for that too because yours has have come online in the last 2 weeks, and it's been balls to the walls for you.
yes, girl. I'm like, where are these dreams coming from? This is how we talk, Jennifer.
Oh, sorry. Is that not appropriate?
I was not expecting that.
To the window.
Yes, yes. No, I don't know what has been happening and what is going on in my consciousness in the universe where these dreams are just coming to me, but I can't resist it and I have to open my consciousness to it and also receive them. Yeah.
So, dreams are really interesting in connection to psychic ability because it
Mhm.
usually is a step from where you're getting information in your dreams to the next step of getting information while you're awake.
Mm,
So, definitely pay attention to that arc
yes.
because your next step, especially after this upcoming retrograde, Mercury retrograde, you could be getting information in real time, in real space while you're awake, because the dreams happen right before the complete opening happens.
Okay, I got chills.
I'm like,
All over
I don't think you're ready for this jelly.
behave. That is such a strong message because there is something that's like really picking at me of saying like, pay attention, pay attention.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, some of the dreams, but I'm going to write them out and really kind of sit with them as well.
Yeah. Not everything in the dream is going to be relevant. Usually there's like one sentence, one experience, one message
Okay.
that is what they are trying to get you to understand or get you to recognize.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Oh, thank
I
you for
love that.
Just a quick example, like if you're seeing fire in your dreams, that's a warning saying, hey, something's not right, something's coming. Anything with water is emotion, is change, loss, anything with water. Those are
Awesome.
just two examples of things to look out for in your dreams.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, do you post this on your Facebook page about little elements like that of dreams?
Yes. Yeah, I will. Dreams are one of my fascinations. I mean, I have a whole book that I am hoping to publish on dream stories, which are my dreams and what was going on comparatively to what was going on in my real life and
Oh,
how they
nice.
interconnect. It's a great way to see, what your inner self is telling you versus what the outer self is happening, what's happening on the outer self. And I am definitely somebody who, tries to teach people, look at the bigger picture and look at the little picture. Whatever's going on the inside of you is also going on the outside of you. And when you are able to match, you're able to heal, because then you can take the next step into figuring out what to do next. So that's why dreams are so important, because it's what's going on the inside of you that will match what's going on the outside of you. So, yeah.
I'm going to
And there's fire on the inside. There's usually something burning on the outside.
eagerly await this book. I hope you
I
get that out.
know. I'm like, do we have a date for this yet?
Because that is
It's actually all written. I just have to actually do it, like
okay.
upload it.
Well, I hope this is
love
the
it.
little push that gets you, because I'm excited. I want to know all the stories and all the things. So, oh my gosh. Well, one of the tools that you mentioned, Jennifer, that you use in your practice is angel cards. And I wanted to ask, for those who don't know what angel cards are, how do they work, and just what is their purpose? So if you wouldn't mind just sharing about angel cards.
So some psychics use angel cards. These are mine in particular. And you can pull them on a daily basis. And sometimes, just like your weather forecast that you were talking about before, this also sort of does some forecasting for the day or a reflection of what's going on. A lot of times angels are more about reflection versus prediction. They just want you to know how you're feeling. So I think your routine of checking in every morning of like, what am I feeling? What am I doing is very similar to exactly this. So as I shuffle them now, I just shuffle the energy. I think about, or I ask, what do the angels want me to know? And then I'll pull a card when I feel pushed to pull the card. Oh, and check that out. That's so interesting. Because you were talking about the
Earth.
green. Look at that.
Look at that, King of Earth.
And it also, this is one of my favorite cards because, as I said before we got onto the recording, like there's definitely a lot of change that's going on now for the entire community, entire world. And one of the things that is going to be prevalent is money, change in financial circumstances. Pretty much all of that is heading towards getting better. And this particular card is specifically saying the Midas touch. Anything you touch, and I do think this is actually geared towards you, Sandra, not only because we just did our session, but I also understand there are definitely a lot of changes happening over there. But the Midas touch is about the change, is about you can do no wrong, is about just the grace that you are going to receive, the good karma that you're going to receive because of all of the good that you have done over the last couple of years. So I do think, because you said that green,
Yeah.
that's most likely geared towards you and answering you, like a successful time, confidently accept opportunities in front of you, the Midas touch. Anything you touch is going to turn to gold. That's basically what that means.
I am excited, and
I second that.
I love that. Well, thank you, Jen, for bringing in the angel cards and discuss and talking about the use of it and how you can use it. I love that it can be a part of our forecast, in our daily lives. I
Yeah.
never knew how to use angel cards really, so I love that, first step for me. So I can try that at home as well.
Yeah. And that will also help your dreams and the direction of your dreams. Once the angels realize you're open to getting information in your daily life, in your awake life, they will start giving it to you.
Yes, amazing.
I love that. That's amazing. Well, Jen, you have already kicked us off with some amazingness, but let's give everyone a little bit of a backstory of how your life even trained you for this work, because you set out thinking that you were going to be a lawyer, and then your path unfolded completely different. Before we even get into the details of like when your abilities came online and the things that got you there, how do you feel like the life path that you took has trained you for this work, regardless if it's had detours?
Okay, so I am a psychic medium. A psychic medium is someone who can speak with loved ones on the other side and also speak to past, present, and future. But I didn't start out that way. I only was a psychic as a little girl getting information. I always received just the psychic part. And I went to school. I wanted to be a lawyer. I was pre law in college.
Wow.
I am a philosophy and sociology major. I took philosophy to understand what was wrong with the world, and I took sociology to understand what was wrong with me. And I ended up getting turned. I ended up being introduced to Reiki during a college class, a sociology class. Actually, met somebody who did Reiki and invited me over, and she trained me, and that was it. I was in a completely different direction. As soon as I felt Reiki, which is hands on healing energy, I knew I was going to go in a different direction. I knew that this was going to just completely change what was going on for me. So that psychic part of me started to kick in. And then just through the course of training and years of study of Reiki and practice, then the mediumship came in, and I can describe to you how that happened. I had opened up a Reiki practice. I was having people coming over, doing energy work on them, and I started doing readings. And during one of the readings, the lady that was in front of me, her uncle showed up who had just passed away. And I had described him and given through messages. And at the end of the session, she said, "I didn't know you were a medium." And I said, "I didn't know either." And that was it. From then on, I couldn't keep them away.
Yeah.
People just kept coming to me. It just kept happening during sessions. I would be in different places. I'd be getting my nails done and somebody's mom would show up. I'd be getting a massage. Somebody's grandfather would show up. It just didn't stop. And here we are today, nearly 18 years later, getting to do like all these amazing things. And I love stories. I love learning people's pasts and history and stories and how we are where we are. It absolutely suited my personality, probably a little bit more than being a lawyer, even though I like to fight and I like to argue and I like to win. But it definitely, this is a little bit more of a well-rounded person doing psychic readings versus, arguing my point.
Well, you're fighting for the loved ones to stay connected in communication.
Yeah.
I
You're
think
fighting the positive spiritual thing in its way.
Yeah, one of the things that surprises me with the spirit world and universe um, is just how determined spirit is, how loved ones on the other side make these connections beyond my force, beyond my knowing. There are numerous accounts of how I wanted to go a particular way, and somebody's loved one was like, "Nope, you're going to go this way, and you're going to meet this person, and you're going to tell them I said this. Whether you wanted to or not, you're going to do it." It's so interesting to me how the love is so determined from the other side.
Mhm.
How universe and spirit are absolutely in charge, and like even our connection and even just how we are today at this time and this moment, this is not our doing. This is the beyond bringing us together. And then from here, we'll go on. But this moment, this time is all coordinated by someone or something on the other side, being like, you three deserve to have this conversation.
100%.
Oh, I'm just getting chills, girl.
I
'Cause
know. Well,
I have to share how I know Jennifer
yeah.
because I had that experience with Jennifer. So, after my sister's passing, I was desperate and I said, I just don't know what to do or how to process or how to communicate. And it was in 2020 and when, everything was locked down. And I saw the episode of Unpolished and I saw Jennifer Williamson on there. And I said, there was something about her and I just saw her for that brief moment. I looked her up and said, I'm going to book a session. And I came into it with low expectations because I didn't want to get let down, right? I didn't want to
Mhm.
come in and then say, oh, that wasn't exactly what I was hoping for. So I come to the reading and I remember when you had shared with me just elements of my sister and you said, she's rushing to the front. Like she's beelining it, Sandra. I have to tell you this. And you were describing kind of the interaction or the message that she was giving, and it was spot on. This was my sassy, no nonsense, I do not sugarcoat sister because she was upset that in the reading I was wearing her scarf. And I purposely wore the scarf to the reading. And you had said, she's saying, why are you wearing something that I didn't gift you? And why aren't you wearing the necklace that I gifted you, which I'm wearing today? And it was perfect. And I sat there and you shared so much more with me, Jennifer, on that session. And I left so filled, I cannot explain the elation that I had in that really heavy time of grief to
Mhm.
have that moment of connection and laughter and sistership and all the things. And I was just so impressed by my experience with you. And when my Jennifer here was asking about someone, I said, oh, you have to reach out to Jennifer Williamson because she is just amazing. So I experienced that, how that message had to come across and it was just very direct and I had other questions about other people and you just you're like, look, I have to continue on and share what else
Mhm.
you're sharing. So yeah, so that's how I met Jennifer Williamson. And I had a couple of other readings after that, but that was just so impactful.
Now that's good to know. And
Yes.
I don't remember that at
Well,
all.
no, I'm saying you probably even everything's new to you when you
Yes.
rehear it because everything's just coming through you. It's not coming from you. So you're like, well, I'm glad that worked out well for you because I don't remember any of it. Because if you had to store all of that anyways, your brain would explode.
Yeah.
And that's not how it works in channeling. In channeling, you actually step aside. Your conscious steps aside because there's a higher energy that's channeling through you, coming through you.
Yeah.
So I don't and I tell people, do not be offended by my lack of memory. First of all, I'm old.
Mhm.
And second of all, I've just read, so many people and have interacted with so many people that I just can't
Yeah.
remember everybody. Sometimes what will happen is when I get back into a session, sometimes that will be like, oh wait, I've talked to this person.
Mm.
I've talked to this person on
You
the other side
recognize
before.
their energy in a sense.
Yeah, they feel
Mhm.
familiar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But for the most part, I don't know. People come up to me in the store and like, "Hey, I saw you at the psychic fair. I saw you at Katie's. I saw you this." I'm like, "Hi, I don't know who you are."
Oh,
So I just try to
man.
be polite.
Yes.
Thank you. I hope
Yeah.
you had a good experience and let me check out, please.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be hard to remember all of that. Absolutely, and overwhelming. Well, Sandra did recommend Jen to me, and I like to overanalyze everything before I make a call on anything. And regardless if it's medical decision, mediumship recommendations, or toenail polish. It doesn't matter. I literally am going to like research and analyze everything. And I also am highly about the quality over quantity of things in my life. And, when you get accustomed, everybody's like, I want the best bang for my buck, and they want to get an Akashic Records reading or a psychic or mediumship reading, and they want it to be like super inexpensive, right? But they want to be wowed at the same time. Well, when I was, looking into Jen, I looked it up and, her prices were like right on point for what other successful and strong gifted mediums were. The difference for her was it was a 20-minute reading, right? When most give an hour. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Am I getting gypped here? And then I thought, let me ask Sandra. And I ran it by her. And she was like, girl, it's so worth it. And so what I can explain to you is first I was like 20 minutes. I've got a lot of shit going on in my life. I'm going to need more than 20 minutes. First of all, it was like a New York 20-minute for sure. It was like 2 hours of content packed into 20 minutes. I'm so grateful that I took a ton of notes, but I absolutely did not feel like I left that reading needing something. I didn't feel like I didn't get my value. I mean, she wasn't there trying to like get to know me personally and all this fluff. She was there to deliver the message, and it was done with such precision and value that I was like, I'll pay for that 20 minutes anytime. And it has been so insightful for me because I am not one necessarily to need or feel like I need messages from loved ones. I need more universal guidance to keep me on my path because I have a lot of path options at all times, and I need to really, find what's in my highest and best good for that. And that's not always been the case with most mediums being able to deliver that. They really just want to stick with a loved one that's there to just say, I love you. And I feel like Jen did such a beautiful job of delivering what I genuinely needed without me having to say it. So that was my experience.
Anybody else or a good psychic versus anybody else. I think it's your preparation. If you come to the reading with questions written down, if you come to a reading with a specific goal or a specific idea of what you need, I think you will get a better reading because, again, we're not in control of the information. That information that's going to come through is because of your angels, because of my angels talking to your angels and getting the scoop. So if you're prepared, you will definitely get a better session. And Jen, so just as you were chatting, I was shuffling for you and they are showing, if you can read it because of the
Yep.
mirror.
8 of fire, events, something. I can't see the bottom.
So definitely fire. And I think that identifies with your personality. I know you said earlier you're spicy. And it's kind of funny because when I do sessions and I see some people, especially older Italian ladies, like they always describe themselves as spicy. And I still think that comes from your side of the family. But it says events moving at a fast pace, delays are over, which is again what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
We're in a space right now where things are going to move so fast, many things happening at once. Now, I think this is not just addressing your medical. I think this is addressing numerous, and you can see in the card.
Oh, yeah.
that
All
there's-
the veins, all the channels, all
yeah,
the
there's numerous
energies.
things.
Yeah.
So I think all of that is going to come together for you, and you will definitely start to feel better from it. Now that you feel like you have the source of it, you will definitely start to feel better. But I absolutely see an amazing year for you. 2026 will absolutely be better than the last 5 years for you.
Oh, absolutely. I feel it. And every conversation I've had with you has just kind of confirmed the path and the timing and all of the things. So it helps me to keep steady. It's almost like having, when you're running a marathon, which I've only done one. Who wants to do that? Not a
Yeah, I don't
marathon,
do
but it
that.
was like a 5K. Let's not get ridiculous here. But it's like, when someone's there like cheering you on or or there to give you some water or hydration. That's what I feel like your support has provided for me to help me to keep going and to know that I've got a cheering team and I'm going in the right path.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
And it's so funny because I was like, oh my God, this energy is so familiar. The name is very familiar, but I couldn't tell you anything that we talked about in the past couple of
And
times.
I don't
It
take
just
it
doesn't
personal.
stay with me.
Yeah. I'm like, you're the best person to like tell a secret to because you'd never remember that crap.
This is so true.
Yes.
Yep.
Except if you talk to my mom, that's not the case. I would
She'll tell
tell
you remember
everybody
everything.
as a child and as a young person, I was telling everybody secrets because I was getting that information.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
That's
So
true.
it is interesting how there's a little bit of a shift
Yeah.
in that experience as well.
It is. Well, tell us, I know that you said that your psychic abilities kicked in more when you were a child, and it sounds like there was some trauma that kind of awakened this ability.
There are just a couple of things that sort of come together that I think created the experience and the psychic part of me. One of it is that I do have a female lineage in my family of the female being psychic. My mother has it. She has shared with me that she's seen things. My sister has something called kinetic energy, which is a psychic part that breaks light bulbs and fans and
Mm.
electronics. Anything she touches when she's angry, if she touches something electronic, it will blow up.
Wow.
I have a, great grandmother that had a dream of her husband passing away. This is gone back to horse and buggy days, back when they
Mhm.
lived in Ireland. He came home from the pub drunk. He drowned in a river. And she had the dream the night before that it was going to happen. And it happened exactly how she said that it was going to happen. So I have a very long line in my family, female strength and female psychic. So that was where the beginnings were. But then as a little girl, I have an experience where I am on the outside of my little girl body and I'm like, what are these hands? Why do I look like this? What are these legs? I couldn't understand why I looked the way I did. Why
Hmm.
did I have these eyes? Why did I have this hair? And as I turned, I could see my body still in the bed. And I am no more than like 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I have this experience. I would learn much later in life that I was abused by my uncle while
Mm.
we lived in his house. So, but I didn't know that at the time. My experience was just I was on the outside of my body, something was happening to my body. And that separation, I believe, is what the start of the psychic part growth was because it was while my body was in defense mechanism,
Mm.
but it was preparing for that experience that I was talking about before, where you step aside as you're channeling, your brain moves out of the way for the other energy to come in. So I think that was the start of it. But where it really gets good is at the age of 13, it was the night before school, and I was, folding my clothes and putting my clothes together, getting ready for school, and I hear the phone ring. And all of a sudden, this wave of energy comes over me. This wave of information comes over me. And I know that when my mother picks up that phone, our lives are going to be different.
Huh.
Wow.
And it is very true because 1 year later, same time frame, that September, that person that was on the phone, she ended up marrying. And
Oh.
the night before she married him, I had written a very long letter to her. And I had said, this isn't going to work. You're going to be unhappy. And there was a lot of other things in the letter. But my mother had a very interesting experience. She said she didn't freak out. She didn't yell at me. She didn't tell me I was wrong. What she said was, why did you wait so long to tell me?
Mm.
So she knew and she was having the experience of this is probably not the best idea. But it was the night before the wedding. So she went through it anyway. And of course, unfortunately, it happened exactly how I had predicted, which it wouldn't last more than 10 years.
I was going to say that's a great point, though. You can't control how anybody will receive the information, even if you're not someone that does readings for people, and this is not a professional thing, but you are connected with your gifts, our human side will always second guess, should we share this with someone, because we care so deeply and we don't want to ruin our relationship for one. We often have to go through things to learn the lesson,
Right.
and we see things sometimes ahead of time just to prepare us, right? It's like having a first aid kit when you cut your finger versus not having it. You are a little calmer and you know how to handle it. But, I'm so happy that your mom, regardless, of when you felt confident enough to deliver this, was still loving and receiving your words and knowing that you're doing it just from a kind, loving place and that it's a message from the spirit. It's not your personal opinion or judgment.
Yeah, her reaction could have been a number of things.
Yes.
And the fact that she said, "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" versus "You're wrong"
Mm-hmm.
was so reinforcing for me. It
Hmm.
had given me the confidence of, "Hmm, okay. This is something that I can share and this is something that I can do." Um, but that wave, just speaking of to the shift and how to know you're in a shift,
Hmm.
that wave that had come over me when I was 13, that's something that I will never forget. I will never not understand that wave that's coming over me. It's not the only time that it's happened. It's happened later in my life as well. And unfortunately, it doesn't always happen with that kind of specific, sometimes shifts are something that we don't recognize until after they happen. But
Hmm.
in that moment, I just, you know, knew whoever was on the other side of that phone was going to change my life. And it wasn't necessarily negative or positive. I just knew it was going to be changed. And again, it doesn't always signal that way. I would say most of my shifts and changes that have happened in my life, I didn't recognize until after it was already done. Like, that was what you were trying to tell me. So it's not as clear sometimes, but in those moments,
Well, I feel like you're kind of like working with your angels and your spirit team. And at that age, or any age that when this starts to activate for somebody, you have to go through the curriculum. You have to go through the training, right? And unfortunately, it's learning how to communicate a new language with someone, right? And you're having to learn, even though they're speaking in escape room code, you're like, okay, what number does that equate to, and what lock do I put that number in on? Like, you're not sure what to do with the information at first, but through those experiences and looking backwards and analyzing, probably with the support of your angels, because you said they like to do reflective work. Is that what you said?
absolutely, angels are more reflective than predictive, which means that they are in the moment telling you that your feelings are valid. What you're
Mm-hmm.
experiencing is real. You are
Mm-hmm.
not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a little bit crazy, but you're not crazy overall. And angels want you to recognize that your experiences are leading you to a direction. So reflection is as important as, analysis.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you got to a point. When did you start trusting all of those knowings and messages without spending all this time second guessing yourself?
Yeah, not until much later in
Oh,
life.
okay.
I would say, well into my late 30s was
Mm.
there absolute confidence. And even now, a little bit more so confidence of the direction. It's not until later in life did I absolutely believe and trust in myself. That is absolutely more of how I grew up, more of the reasons why, certain things happened in my life. Um, there was a particular formula for why it probably took me so long to trust myself. And, you know, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that the people that were supposed to protect me didn't protect me.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the support system. I didn't have somebody that I could, tell certain things to. I didn't have that. So that for me was a learning lesson in my own particular. space that it was only going to be me that was going to rescue me. It was only going to be me that was going to heal me. And that I didn't learn until, almost my 40s.
How interesting. And, I can't even imagine like thinking about your story and all the things that happened, all those milestones, that energy that you were feeling, and how many other people are also feeling that, right? Like there's some people have the notion that everyone has intuition or that type of level of or some level of psychic ability, right? And I'm just thinking honing in on that, right? When you get that energy shift, or you get the hairs on the back of your neck go up, or some of those quiet whispers that come up, and just listening to your story, I'm saying to myself, wow, there's just so much untapped potential there, because people are discounting or writing off, well, I just got to chill. It's just a chill. It's not necessarily anything else.
Yeah, recognition is part of the human experience to the next level, right?
Hmm.
If you can recognize as a human that this is something that's actually not human, that is from spirit, then you can get to the next step.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody absolutely is born with
Uh-huh.
intuitive power and psychic power. That psychic ability is in every person's brain.
Right.
I know, I keep telling my husband I need him to get online because I'm tired of his messages coming through me. I'm like, "Dear Lord, can you just, like, get connected somehow, even if it's hardwired? I don't know, but you gotta get your own messages, dude, because 'cause you're not listening to them from me." Oh, well, let me restate this for some of those that are still new to this. The psychic abilities, right, is the past, present, and future energies
Correct.
that you're reading. So, mediumship is where it comes in that you're reading the energies of the people around you. And it's not the people in physical form. It could be, you know, maybe they were once here in physical form walking with you, but they could even be a lineage of your family or your soul family that you haven't even had a relationship with in person in this life, that
Correct.
could be supporting you along the way that you're picking up communication and messages from. Now, you said that kicked in though during Reiki later on, which is what completely like derailed you from law school. I can't imagine what your
Derailed is
brother
a
said
good
about
word.
that, but tell us a little bit about that.
So, Reiki 2 is the psychic healing Reiki energy attunement that you receive. So, as of that attunement, that completely opened up my third eye, completely opened up the channeling ability. That was where I just couldn't close it off anymore. And as I did Reiki sessions, I was so opposed to the word psychic. I did
Mm,
not want to be called psychic. I did not want to use that word at all. I called myself a Reiki reader,
mm,
where I did energy on people and I received information and I passed on that information. And I used that for probably like 8 or 9 years because I
yeah.
refused the word psychic for a number of reasons. It wouldn't be until later on where I was like, fine, fine, you could call me that. And that was where the financial part was like, okay, here we go. So that alignment was very important, that I was able to say it and accept it. But so, yeah, after doing energy work on people for a number of years, the mediumship part started showing up and seeing people on the other side. I would have visions of them. I would be able to feel how they died, be able to tell people what actually happened to their loved one, because a lot of times in death, people were not allowed to be in the room, or they found them.
Mm.
They heard about their death from, law enforcement or from friends or from other people. So a lot of times family members come to me wanting to know how their person actually died.
Mhm.
And I would be able to tell them, this is what happened. So to give you an example, somebody who had a loved one pass away in the 9/11, I was able to say that they had a hard time breathing and that they lost their breath, they went unconscious, and that's how they died. And the person was like, no, 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 they died in 9/11. Okay, yes, but this is
Yeah.
exactly what happened to them.
Mhm.
And that connection was healing for that person because they had never known what actually happened to them.
Mhm.
So learning how the person actually passed away can help you grieve and can help you release some of that intense energy. So being able to do that was a different level of reading, was a different level of psychic ability.
Mm.
It was, number one, way more intense, but absolutely satisfying to be able to help that person finally finish their grieving,
Mhm.
finally be able to move on to their next step of their healing or the next step in their life. So, again, I think that my experience happened in a certain way, in a certain stepping way, in a certain ladder way to be able to not only help me process the higher level of energy that it takes to do that, but also for just, being able to expand my business, being able to expand what I was doing. At the core, I was always a businesswoman. I
Yeah.
always wanted to own my business. I always wanted to teach. I never thought of myself as a public speaker, but I found myself at a very young age in front of people speaking. And I may have no business being there at that time, but that was what the universe said. Nope, you need this experience for
Hmm.
your next job, for your next experience. So getting to that mediumship level, there are natural mediums. There are natural people that are born with that. They can see from a young age.
Yeah.
We can experience it from a young age. Doesn't always happen in that step ladder type of experience. It just happens that was my experience, but it doesn't always happen that way.
Well, it's so interesting that you had that stepladder experience and had the opportunity to almost digest each level.
Mhm.
Yes.
And I just wonder, like thinking about some of the things you mentioned, as someone who's connected and also sensitive to all of this, how do you take care of yourself?
Mm.
Because there's a lot of energy that is channeled through you. And how does that impact you individually and your energy as well?
Mhm.
Yeah. So actually a great question. And that sort of brings me back to the start of our episode where we were talking about tools.
Yes.
Angel cards are definitely a tool to help you reconnect with your own angels. So I do use them quite often. I love music. I am definitely a believer that if you want to get to your kids and help them with healing and you want to get to the deeper level of yourself, your inner child, because we all have inner children that are still looking for help and still looking for healing. I love a singing bowl, and
Mhm.
I have the singing bowl right outside my door. And every morning, even as I'm like running to the bathroom, ding, I hit the singing bowl because that vibration interrupts that negativity. It
Mm.
interrupts any of the stagnant energy that's around me. Just a little, few notes of this can completely change the house, completely change the vibration. So I absolutely use that. We just ordered a drum. I was thinking about it before, whether I was going to actually show it or introduce it, but it is one of these. It's like this little drum, and it has all different frequencies, and you just tap the drum, and again, it changes the mood in the house.
Wow.
And so anything that can interrupt some of the frustration, stagnation that happens, especially if you're in busy households.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I have 5 animals, 5 crazy animals, and 3 crazy humans. So
Yeah, so
you
there's not
just
stagnation there, it's just you needed to harmonize all of it for you.
well, and that's a great way to look at it. But the self-care that is needed
Yeah.
for me is definitely extensive. Absolutely the outdoors, music, my angel cards, and then doing Reiki on me, doing energy on me to help regain some of my strength.
I love the singing bowls because it's something that's so simple that absolutely anyone can do. Think about how empowering that is too. Like if you have children and, this is not a toy, this is not something that we bang every 5 minutes. But if you feel a little discomfort in your body, or if you feel anxious, or if you feel this, let's give it a tap. And it helps them to bring awareness to how they're feeling, and it gives them a tool. And even if the tension in the house is a little high for whatever reason, even kiddos will remind you, hey, can we do the singing bowl? And it really helps everybody to take a part in balancing out a healthy energy in the house.
I can't even like imagine. So I work from home and my husband does too. And imagine if this was a part of our experience on a daily basis. And I'm just sitting here and he hits the bowl and it forces me to stop
Mm,
that moment, right? It's not something that I initiated, but it's like,
uh-huh,
here's a reminder, get yourself centered or harmonized. And I
Yes.
love that idea. I would have never thought to do something
uh-uh.
like that, have it in a centralized place or a place that people can access it. And then just, I think that's such a great tip.
Are you kidding me? I'm like, okay, there's going to be one by the front door.
Yes.
So before and after people leave, there's going to be one in the bathroom so I can just tap that baby every time I'm in there. There's going to be one in the living room. Like, here we go.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Shop around
Reiki.
because they can be a little expensive, but shop
Oh, okay.
around for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have to find the good ones.
But music is absolutely, again, something from a little kid, just recognizing how it changes the vibration, recognizing the frequency, recognizing the energy. And even in, the relationship with my own child, I learned that if I wanted to connect with her, music was going to be the way.
Mhm.
And some of that is her music, and some of that is bringing her into my music. And, it absolutely helps children's brains. It helps our brain. It helps to, take the static
Mm-hmm.
energy that we feel and receive from the outside world. So when we're home, you can just put any kind of meditation music on, that music, and realign that brainwave,
Mm-hmm.
get it back into a normal function where it's not the static. I often
Yeah.
describe people as, the TV static.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm reading somebody and all I can see is that. And then there are other people that come that are just so perfectly, you know, banded, to use the frequency word. They're just so perfectly even.
Yeah.
And you can see that energy wise.
Interesting.
So, yeah, if you want to insert change into your home in the very minimalist way, use music.
Well, it's also an invitation. Like my father passed many years ago and I have his records, right? So I play his records and you kept using the word static and I just said, say this. Sandra, just say it. So I'm saying it. So I put on his records and they're all staticky, but it's just so connective and it puts me in this space, in this very different, like reset space of being a girl and listening to the music while he was sitting there
Mm,
smoking his cigarettes and all the things, right? And I think
yeah,
the power of music for the reset, as you were mentioning, and then also the connection piece of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Key is something that you've touched base on, but if there's people that aren't familiar with what it is, how would you explain it to a 12-year-old?
So it's hands-on healing energy, and that's basically the bottom line, is energy. People will feel tingling. You can feel vibration, you can feel heat, you can feel cold, or you just may feel um, a relaxed sense or a peaceful sense in your body. You may not feel any of that, just feel peace in your heart. And that is what Reiki is. Reiki has been around for a very long time. There's a lot of history written on it. Even before Oprah mentioned it on her show, I was doing it. So it was
Yeah.
very, but it did get much more popular, of course, after that little pro tip. But there's certainly a benefit to Reiki as far as it's a way of life. It gives you principles to live by. No anger,
Uh-huh.
no worry, respect everything, respect everyone. So it gives you principles, it gives you a way of life. So I love Reiki to support people. And I encourage everybody to experience it, whether you're getting a session or you're going to actually take a class and get an attunement. Either way, definitely experience it.
Well, I would say to the person that maybe has never experienced anything like this, just close your eyes and then imagine your partner putting the palm of their hand on your thigh. And instantly, you are going to feel one of those things that she mentioned from the palm, right? You're going to feel that tingling. You're going to feel electric. You're going to feel warmth. You're going to feel static. You might feel something, and it could be different from time to time because, each person carries their own energy, but it's like that, but with intention, right? To help balance out your own energies. My husband, we uncovered a few years ago that he was on the spectrum, which made a lot of sense, but always he would touch me and I'm like just regular around the house, anything. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so hot. Like you're
Mhm.
on fire, your hands all the time. And I said, honey, I don't know if you know anything about Reiki, but you have a lot of energy that you are not channeling for yourself, for anything. And it could benefit you and everybody and everything around you. But also the fact that you're on the spectrum, it will help you to understand the technical principles of learning how to read the unseen sometimes. Because with someone on the spectrum, visual cues of facial expressions and energy shifts and social dynamics are just not their specialty. And so I sent him to a weekend to do the full Reiki master training because technically being on the spectrum, you love very specific training. And my God, it did wonders for him. And now he goes to, I don't know if you guys have them in your area, but it's called Reiki Shares.
Mhm.
And you just go and you donate your time as a practitioner and you're providing Reiki healing energy to people that need it. And you don't have to go in there and tell them why you need the Reiki. You don't have to say anything. You're just there to receive this energy balancing. It's like getting an alignment on your car. But for him, even as a practitioner, just having all that extra energy flow through him as well and being a conduit, he receives just as much benefit in balancing himself. And so it's been a spectacular addition to our family.
Mhm.
You did mention, though, something I've not heard of before. It was reconnective healing. What's that all about? I'm thinking, like, is that like quantum healing? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's associated with quantum healing. So
Mm.
reconnective healing at its base definition is also energy.
Mm-hmm.
I describe the difference between Reiki and reconnective healing as Reiki is subtle,
Mm-hmm.
soft, slow, and reconnective healing is the punch of
Mm.
energy. And to give you an example, I have been doing Reiki since I was 18, 19 years old, very
Okay.
young. And I was introduced to reconnective healing. I think I was like maybe just 29 or 30, somewhere around there. And what I had learned in the 10 years that I was doing Reiki, when I got introduced to reconnective healing, it happened in 4 months.
Wow.
Like anything I was trying to do happened in 4 months. So when I received my reconnective healing training or experience, 4 months later, I tripled my income.
Huh.
So reconnective healing is the punch of energy, and Reiki is the soft, subtle way. And again, there are definitely debates out there about, these two energies competing with each other, but they don't compete with each other. They are also not a subset of each other, which again is a little bit up for debate. But reconnective healing is its completely own system.
And it can be done remotely. Right?
Reconnective healing is, in my opinion, better done remotely
Okay.
than in person, because the reason why is reconnective healing is absolutely connected to frequency and vibration of the source. So when you input your own source of energy into the space, you're going to change that frequency. So doing it remotely, if you're in your own space that you're used to and you have perfected, it's better for me to send the energy from my space to your space. And then you are only being surrounded by the energy of your self, your angels, your perfection. But if I was in the same space with you, that's interrupting your perfection. So the healing is, definitely tainted.
What kind of things do people try to target with that?
What do we target?
Yeah, with the reconnective healing, like, do people come in and say, like, I'm feeling this, like, pressure in my jaw, and I don't know if it's connected to an emotion, and I need you to check it out and shift it? Or are they
I'll
all
give you an
like, I just feel
example.
like I stuck my finger in a light socket. Help me figure it out.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. I had a lady come for a reconnective healing session. This was when I was working out of an office, and she had experienced a stroke a year before, and she was no longer able to walk on her own. She needed a cane, and she had come for one 45-minute reconnective healing session. And the next day she called me and she said, Jen, I don't need my cane anymore. I
Wow.
completely regained my balance. I completely regained the clarity in my brain. And that was it. And she did do 2 other sessions. And then because she had healed so much, her daughter took her to Florida to, live on her own. And there was
Mhm.
a lot of other things going on there. But that is what I mean by reconnective healing is the punch of energy. It happens so quickly, so fast. Whereas Reiki, you could still do Reiki on that woman, but it would take a lot longer. It would take a lot more sessions. It would take a lot more for that experience to still happen for her. She was still going to heal. Her ultimate fate was always going to be healing because that is just a part of the universal rule, the map.
Mhm.
But the difference between it happened in one night versus it was going to happen in a couple years, reconnective healing absolutely is astonishing that way. It doesn't give you the principles like Reiki does, which is why I like Reiki. Reiki supports your lifestyle. So I do like the little bit of difference
Mhm.
there. To give you another example, I was doing a Reiki class here in the house, and my little girl at the time, who is a monkey, born the year of a monkey, likes to jump and climb. And well, on the morning of our class, she decided to jump from like the third or fourth step down to the bottom of the floor, and she hurt her foot. And I could see in the foot the purple, the swelling.
Mhm.
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Brought her over to the couch. I did reconnective healing on her, and you could see the blood and the swelling is just sucking right back into the foot.
Wow.
So where I thought I was going to the ER for a broken foot, we ended up putting her on the couch. We did reconnective healing on her. And within about 45 minutes, she was able to get up and walk around and had absolutely no problem. But you
Well,
could
I was
see
already
in,
like, I'm booking this appointment with you.
Girl, I
After
was
we get
about
done,
to
I'm emailing you.
I was like, "Wait a second, when do you offer these?"
yeah,
Amazing, amazing.
yeah, the sooner after the injury you enter reconnective healing, the quicker your healing will be.
Yes.
With Reiki, it's really interesting. With Reiki, you do not want to touch a broken bone until it's set. Only after it's set do you want to input the energy, because if you input the energy when it's not set, I'm just using my arm as an example. I am not asking for that to happen.
Mhm.
Good
It
girl.
will set incorrectly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you want to make sure that Reiki is applied
Mhm.
at the most appropriate time, because anything that it, is input into, it will heal exactly as it is. Whereas reconnective healing, again, in the word reconnective, it brings it back to the point. It brings it back to the beginning. So it's really, really interesting.
So fascinating. It's so I've never heard of reconnective healing, and I'm just yeah, my brain is a Twitter right now.
Mhm.
Yeah. If you look up Dr. Eric Pearl,
Okay.
he is the one who is the author of the book, whatever you want to call him, as far as the, founder. I have been to, his healing weekends that he's
Mhm.
offered. I went to Kripalu. Have you guys heard of
Oh, I've
Kripalu?
heard of Apollo, yes.
Yeah. So he had done his workshop up there.
Wow.
It's a beautiful workshop. I love Kripalu. Been there
I'm
several
like,
times.
Capello, is that like Coachello for energy stuff?
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
It's a beautiful space.
It's a yoga center in Massachusetts,
Yes.
and it's in the Berkshire Mountains. So it is
Beautiful.
absolutely gorgeous
Wow.
and absolutely a must for people to experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had met him there. I didn't agree with everything that he said. In fact, a lot of it I disagreed with, but I could not deny the energy. I could
Interesting.
not deny the experiences. So, as much as I was not a fan of his, I absolutely believe in the energy and bring it forward. And I'm happy to give other people the experience of it because it will change your life. There's no doubt about it.
Well, with anything, lead with curiosity and take what aligns and feels right for you and leave the rest. Like, you
Yeah,
don't have to take everything to get something out of it.
that is for sure.
Wonderful. So I wanted to dive into some common misconceptions. Now, as I said earlier in our chat, that when I first booked an appointment with you, I came in with low expectations because I was just too hurt and I was grieving and I was at a space where I couldn't handle a letdown.
True.
So I came in to the conversation and I said, anywhere we can go from here is up because my expectations are really low. So thinking about those maybe that have never had a reading or have certain myths or misconceptions about it, what types of things do you hear, Jennifer? And you say to yourself, people are just getting wrong about mediumship. Do you have some of those myths that you've encountered?
That it comes from aliens.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yes.
I think one of the things about mediumship that keeps people away from it is just the fear of death
Yeah.
and the fear of unknown, the fear of pain. But mediumship is so much more than that. And I would absolutely say almost in complete opposite of that. Experience mediumship is experiencing love. You are connecting to love on the other side. There is no such thing as hell. We all go to the same place, no matter our religion, our belief, our background, our status. You all go to the same place.
Yeah.
And, sometimes people don't want to hear that either, but uh, it really has been my experience that your heaven can be your garden.
Mm-hmm.
Your heaven could be your living room. It really is where you have chosen, but it also is the point of love.
Yes.
And so mediumship carries, that fear, I think, for a lot of people. And some people, they don't want to know the future. They don't want to know what's on the other side. They don't, maybe they have questions of medical, or maybe they have an experience that they're going through. They want some advice on something. That's all okay. We can do all of that. There are people that will come and say, I only want you to talk about this. I don't want you to talk about anything negative.
Mm-hmm.
But to give you an example of how, mediumship can be a little bit challenging, I was doing a reading for a lady, and she was pretty up there. She was pretty elderly, but just such fun and a bundle of energy. Like, never would have. I learned later on what was going on with her, but yeah, she had two ex-husbands, both of them on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
They both came through for her. They both were loving towards her. Absolutely great experience and reading. And at the end of it, she said, I'm surprised that they didn't mention my stage 4 breast cancer.
Huh.
She had just had her port put in a couple days before the reading. And it was kind of funny because I was like, well, there was something that was said, but I didn't tell her. The ex-husband, who I found out was the love of her life, just before the session ended, said, I'm waiting for you.
Mm.
And I had felt
It
that
wasn't
was not what I
appropriate.
wanted to say to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not know she had stage 4 breast cancer.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And I had chosen not to tell her,
Mm-hmm.
even after she had said what she said. Later on, I had to it stayed with me. I was like, why? Why are we telling me this?
Mm-hmm.
Was it my job to tell her?
Right.
Who am I
Right.
to get in the way of that information. That was a pure love message from that husband, even though it was an ex. Still loved her, still wanted her, and still was telling her, you don't have to fear over here. We are here waiting for you. Who am I to get in the way of that very loving, godly message?
Yeah.
And from that point on, I always gave anything that I received because I am not the barrier. I am only the vessel. It is not up to me what somebody else can handle. It is
Yeah.
not up to me what to say and what not to say. I will catch some stuff and be like, okay, they're saying it in this way. I'm going to say it a little nicer. I'm going to say it a little gentler. And I do that now, but I do not block any of that information because that message could have helped her and could have prevented maybe some of the fear that she was having.
Interesting.
So mediumship is tough in that way, where yes, you're going to talk about death. And yes, you're going to talk about pain, but you're also going to talk about love. And you're also going to see and feel the connection of the universe right to you.
Yeah.
They work, your angels work for you, your loved ones on the other side work for you. They're not going to put you in the way of an issue. They're only here to protect you and they're only here to help you.
Huh.
And that is the difference of, what could be circulating out there as a negative versus what it actually is.
So, my personal experience with you, Jennifer, in this exact, thinking about this theme, is I had someone on the other side that, when they were on this plane, loved me, but maybe in not the healthiest ways, right?
Mm.
And we were talking, we talked about my sister, she came through, and this person was trying to get through. And this is what you had shared to me. And you described the person, it was to the T. And you said to me, your grandmother keeps holding this person back. Your grandmother is holding them back and whispering in their ear, like, leave her alone, like, let her be. And I just felt so protected. And I just felt the love of that, and even the way, because my mother wasn't my sister's energy, I'm sorry, my grandmother wasn't my sister's energy, like, just very direct and forward. She was like the quiet, calm peace. And I just, even visually, was seeing her just calming this person down and saying, okay, she's good. Leave her be. So even in those moments of, negativity or fear or any of that, I just felt the love and I felt that connection of this person is really looking out for me, even
Yeah.
on the beyond. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Another story that has stayed with me specifically to mediumship and how it's just such an interesting concept. Young girl had come to me, wanted to talk to her mother.
Hmm.
And I said to her that her boyfriend, the mom's boyfriend, is with her, that they love each other. They are together. They are coming through together. And she was like, no, that can't be. Yes, that's what's happening. Your mom's boyfriend is here and they love each other. And your mom is telling me that she loves him. Well, it turned out that the boyfriend shot her
Mm.
and then killed himself. And they were together on the other side. And the daughter absolutely refused to believe that that was possible, which of course we can all understand.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't change the fact that the mom was telling her, listen, I loved him. I was with him for a reason. I understand I am where I am because of that, but I loved him.
Wow.
And there was no denying that that's a complicated human problem to understand.
Yeah.
How can that even be? But again, on the other side, it is all love. It is all forgiveness. It is all strength. And there's no judgment in that perspective. So she definitely had a lot to think about and a lot to deal with after our session. And I don't know if it got through to her, but I think the message from the mom was, I know that I am here because of this love, but I would never change the fact that I loved him. I would
Wow.
never change the fact that I was experiencing this. I might have changed, in fact, what I would have done, but I would never change the fact that I loved him. That was just what her soul had to learn. and what her soul had to go through.
Wow.
That is so that is just so much there, and to say that message objectively to a grieving daughter, that's I could see how that's just it could be a challenge, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
trying to make sense of it
yeah,
is sometimes our job as a medium to be like, you know, this is how this experience of love is working.
yeah.
But the human mind and the human experience
Once it's yeah.
is so different, right?
Well, I think if someone was to hear or have an experience like that, that's also where this mindset can come into this medium doesn't know what she's talking about,
Mhm.
right? And they're trying to, for their safety's sake, for a protective mechanism, trying to validate or justify why this information cannot be because they're just having such a hard time processing it. Like if you get a recommendation for a medium, you need to take that recommendation. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know, like look at who's giving you the recommendation. Is the person open minded and or are they closed off? Because you do have to go into this open minded, knowing that you might hear some things that make you uncomfortable,
Yeah,
but you don't have to make a decision right then and there on how you feel about it. Just sit with it. Don't judge the person giving you the message.
sure.
Just sit with it and see how it kind of shakes out with you emotionally and mentally and even physically after a few weeks of getting that message and go from there. You can't shoot the messenger.
Absolutely.
Well, one more quick example of to your point.
Mhm.
A lady had come to me, and during our session, she was asking me about family and work. And I had stopped the session and I'd said, "Your mother is going to die in 6 months." And she was not expecting that.
Sure.
And she was very angry with me that I had told her that.
Mhm.
But she took it a few days later, completely changed her work schedule, completely changed everything
Mm,
so that she could spend that time with her mother. And her mother did pass away in 6 months. And it
Mhm.
was actually unexpectedly. It wasn't something that they would have known unless me telling her that. A year later, she had sent me a card with a thank you note and said, "I'm so sorry I was angry with you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have got to spend the time with my mom. And this is what I had done to make sure that I got to spend every moment with her." And so, yes, she walked away from me very unhappy.
Mhm.
And again, in my mind, was that something I was supposed to say to her?
You
My
can't
view now
control
would
it.
be absolutely, but it's not easy.
Mhm.
But
that
she changed her schedule so she could spend it with her mom. Because how many of us, like if I had known about my dad and what was going to happen with my dad, I might have been able to, maybe not, but I might have been able to change some of the things in my schedule so I could see him beforehand.
mhm.
So it's really powerful, but it's also a hard thing.
Yeah, that's where the self-care comes in. That's where the just pouring back into yourself, because I can't even imagine as part of your routine to have to share some of these harder messages. So, for those folks coming in for a reading, for those folks who may have never experienced a reading before, do you have certain recommendations, suggestions, ways to approach a reading without fear or without kind of, fantasizing about the aliens or anything else? So, um, any suggestions to provide?
So I always think that the people that have the best readings are open to hearing anything that's coming through. They definitely make a list. They definitely tell their grandmother, "Show up,"
Yeah.
or whoever, their father, their sister, whoever it is. Like, "Listen, you need to be here." So make a list, ask your angels to be there and be open.
Okay.
It is very true, and I've done it myself in readings that I've had from other people. I've taken information that I wanted, and I've left information that I didn't want.
Mhm.
And and that's it. I don't have any, judgment of other than that. The experience is mine, and I can make the experience whatever I want. And that's what I tell people. Like, you will have a good experience based off of what you come to it with. If you come to the experience trying to test me, you're
Mhm.
not going to have that great of experience, because if you're withholding energy, that energy can't come through.
Yes.
Yep.
And, that has happened. I've had people that, have wanted to do certain things. They have their own agenda and they have their own script and they have their own wants and needs. And that's okay. They're going to have whatever experience they set themselves up for.
And thinking about the folks that you meet and the work that you do, is there one element that you would love to say, I would just love for this to end today? If we didn't have, you talked about testing you, right? How people come in and they want to test you. Is that something that you would love to just eliminate, or is there something else there that you would say, I would love for this to just end?
Now, I can't say that, people should stop being skeptical.
Yes.
I am my own biggest skeptic. I want to see it. I want to feel it. I want to know it.
Yes.
And that's how I believe it. All right. So I can't tell people not to be human. So I can't really say, don't do that. Um, I can't off the top of my head think of
Mhm.
anything that I want to end today, other than the idea of something that I talked about a little bit before, is understanding that this experience is all about love. It's all about healing, and it's for your best benefit,
Yes.
and sometimes when we're learning lessons, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
There's going to be pain there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would be something that, if I had to have people stop or end, that would be what that answer would be.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Is there one though, like common shift that you see in clients after they have a message?
Clarity is most of the responses.
Okay.
Alrighty.
I can see where you're coming from. I can see what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
what
mean,
I
it's all a circle, right? It's all a circle. Even after reconnective healing session, the most common report that people give back to me is how clear they feel,
Mm-hmm.
how clear their mind is,
Mm-hmm.
how they suddenly know a problem or decision can be fixed and can be done.
everybody needs clarity.
Yes. And that Clary Sage. Was it Clary?
Yeah, right?
When people don't have clarity, it's usually because of one or two things. One, they don't want to accept the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
They are resistant to the reality. That's when I hear a lot of people being like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Yes, you know what to do. You just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so that is very frustrating, when you see that. But I also know that I can't live their life. I can't make decisions for them.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they will either come to that acknowledgement, or life will change and they will be forced to come to that acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm.
So take your hater blockers off.
All the time.
Sandra, help us get into the how-tos of all of this.
Well, I wanted to ask a couple of questions. We talked about people being born with this psychic and intuitive abilities. And do you have any advice, or even, I'm really curious on how I can start tapping into that for myself. So, is there anything that I should do, or anything that I should recognize, or any advice, words of wisdom for someone who's gone through the process? Is there anything there that you can share?
Meditation.
Oh, okay.
You want to connect to the other side? Learn how to meditate. You want to connect to your higher self? Learn how to meditate.
Hmm.
There is nothing else clearer or faster in order to get from here to here.
Okay.
Learn how to meditate. The writing is really interesting to me. The journaling is really interesting to me.
Yes.
Being able to sit down with your thoughts and just allow information to come in is another way to connect to your spirit, your guides, your loved ones on the other side. And it develops your openness of your brain. In terms of energy work, my base is really Reiki.
Mhm.
I use and enjoy crystals to help my focus,
Yes.
to help my attention. Some people are critical of crystals. and that's okay. It's not something that I use on a daily basis, but it is absolutely something that I believe helps. So for me, I have a crystal clear quartz crystal, and when I'm meditating, I'll have this in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm doing Reiki, I'll have it in my hand. Again, clarity is the number one that people want.
Yes.
From clarity, you can make the best decisions.
When you started meditating, did you use like a guided meditation to help you along that process, or what was your system on how to meditate?
Yeah, so I am not somebody who can sit quietly.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from New York, I get that. I get that.
It's just not going to work for me. I need music
Mm-hmm.
to meditate. But more recently, there's an app called Calm,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that app.
Interesting.
And they give, what I like about it is they give 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute sessions. You don't have to be meditating for an hour.
Yes.
You just got to do it for 10 minutes a day, and you can make a difference in your life.
Great. Those are great tools and opportunities to help kind of tune into that psychic ability or intuition. Now, you talked about the energy wave. And is there any other, either from your own experience or speaking with other psychics, any other indicators or physical indicators that can help say, well, that's a message, as opposed to, I just got chills? Or is there anything else that comes up for you when you think about the physical sensations of that?
Yeah. So, probably one of the things that people will most report is the knowing, the clear knowing.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew what the answer was. I knew this was going to change. I knew this was what it was. Clairsentience is what it's called, the official term, but it's clear knowing. And that is something that can be developed by the meditation. It can be developed by the angel cards, and it can just be developed by knowing that you're protected and confident.
Yes.
When you're showing the angels, you're getting the message and you're adhering to the message. The angels will give you more information.
Yeah.
They
Mm-hmm.
will give you more when you're accepting of what is being given to you. When you're telling them, I don't want to know, they're not going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to develop your psychic input and your intuition, ask angels for help, and then be confident that what you're given is actually what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes it's hard to receive, right? And it's hard to, because there's this need to want to understand things and organize it in our human experience. And sometimes it's not as, linear or organized as that. So, that can
Well,
be.
yeah, often we want all the information before we're going to make a decision about it. And I find when I get my messages, I'm not getting part two unless I integrate part one. And as soon as I deliver or implement the first part of the message in whatever weird way it came through, then I get the next part and the next part and the next part. And it just doesn't make sense until the end. But it's kind of like, putting spices in your recipe. Like, you don't know what it's fully going to taste like till you sit down for dinner. And you just keep adding a little bit of salt and garlic and this, that, and the other, whatever, calls to you. And it can be, a very clear picture at the end, but you just have to trust the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, confidence is one of the keys to making good decisions, but also being able to say, I trust. I trust what my angels are giving me. I trust what's happening in my life. I trust myself
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
to make good decisions. I trust myself to behave in the way I'm supposed to behave
mm,
and react in the way that's appropriate for the situation. Trust and trusting in yourself is also definitely a key component to developing your intuition.
mm. I love that.
And then you have other experiences that are outside of you that don't require trust or confidence or anything. It's just going to happen. So, for example, like when you wake up in the middle of the night and you see your grandmother at the bottom of the bed, and the grandmother's like, I saw what you did, and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, those are visitations. Those happen with or without any tools
Okay.
or confidence. Sometimes people have described they're in their kitchen cooking and they can feel somebody next to them and they may not know who it is, and they may have an idea, but they may not know. And during a session, I'll be like, do you remember when you were washing the dishes and you felt somebody pinch your butt? That was your grandfather or whatever.
Oh, yeah. That totally happened to me not too long ago. I was in the kitchen and I was making mashed potatoes, and my husband's great grandmother, who is very French, if you can imagine that personality, and she's the type of person where, like, there's a system for everything, everything has its place, ba, 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 just very rule oriented. And I kept, feeling that energy of someone behind me while I'm making mashed potatoes. And I turned around, and of course I could see the energy of Meme Samson. And I'm like, oh, hi. And she's all like, you're not doing it right, rah,
Yeah.
rah, rah, rah. And she's very upset, disgruntled about the way I'm making mashed potatoes. And I was like, well, now's the time to teach me. Tell
Yeah.
me, what do you want me to do? And I'm finding it funny that she is just as, serious and cranky as ever. But it's how I knew also that it was her.
Yeah, we keep our personalities. Yep.
Unfortunately, in my learning lesson, I regret that I did not ask her why she was visiting me today
Mm,
more than the mashed potatoes.
right.
And so as soon as I was done, I messaged my husband's mother and aunt and grandmother and said, hey, Meme Sampson came to me to put me in my place about my mashed potatoes today. His aunt was like, when was this? And I was like, oh God, like what's going on? And then they messaged me and tell me that Adam's grandmother, which would have been Meme Sampson's daughter, ended up falling, hurting herself, and was in the ER, and we had not been told about it yet. And it just happened like
Yeah.
within hours of Meme visiting. And I was like, dang, I need to get better at this and stop just being elated that she was coming to visit. I need to understand she might have tried to bring a message too, but I didn't ask, which means I wasn't open, right, to it. And she was trying to have that opening conversation through mashed potatoes, but I didn't go any further. So
Well, to that point, during readings, sometimes people will say, "Well, why isn't this person coming through?" Or "Why
mm,
isn't that person not coming through? Why is my husband's side coming through?"
uh-huh.
And then what my answer usually is because there's probably something going on in that side of the family. We may not know what it is, but this is why they're more prevalent or louder in your session.
Uh,
Or I've had people say, "I've been to you, 3 times and my mother always comes through. Why today is only my father coming through?" Well, because there's something that's going on in that side of the family, or
mhm,
there's something that your father wants to express to you. Again, I can't control who comes through. I can ask and I can, cast out into the spirit world and see who shows up, but who I hear is who I hear, and who you need to hear is who you need to hear. I don't have control over that. So sometimes they appear for a reason.
Yeah. Those are really great how-tos. So using the meditation and some of the crystals and writing, and also just acknowledging when you feel those feelings, when you feel the brush up or someone pinch your butt, as you said, or the music.
I've had that happen, by the way, in a reading. Somebody's father was a pincher and he got me and I jumped, and the lady's like, my God, now I know it's exactly my dad, because
oh,
that
wow.
he just was a pincher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's happened.
Awesome.
All right, so you have to tell me. Okay, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around this because I wanna know how people communicate with animals. Because I have had an experience in my own home where we had a rescue dog that had severe trauma,
Mm.
and in a desperate plea for his survival, I reached out in a mediumship group within Facebook and said, does anybody communicate with animals? Because I don't know how this works. And a whole bunch of people posted recommendations, and I went through everybody to see who I connected with most. And there was this one lady that did quantum healing energy for animals. And we did a few sessions with her for him, which I won't go into here, but it was incredibly successful, which reminds me of your was it reconnective healing? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
It reminds me of the essence of that, but I wanna hear, like, how in the world do you communicate with animals? What does it sound like? What kind of things come through? I'm so curious.
So I don't know why I am so connected to animals other than just loving
Mhm,
animals and loving all types. I don't
mhm,
know, you know, where and how all of that came about. But during a reading one time, I felt this little thing jump into my lap, and I literally felt the thing like pee in my lap. All of a sudden, my lap was warm. And I was like, what is going on? So I described to the lady what the dog looked like and what the dog did. And she was like, oh my God, that's so and so. And he used to do that all the time, pee in my lap. And that's how they knew that it was their little dog. But they are just like our loved ones.
mhm.
They all go to heaven. I believe our animals who are our past pets are still here with us, even more than our loved ones. So I have a dog named Maggie that passed away a couple years, and I can always hear her tapping on the floor, on the
Mm.
wood floor, because she had her nails and she would tap. So I was always hear that. We have had a cat named Cinderella. She always comes on the full moon. I can always feel her jump up in the bed. I can always feel her sitting next to me. And what'll happen during sessions is I'll either see the energy of the dog come at me, or they'll jump on me, or they'll do something to get my attention, and I'll be able to describe, what they are. But not just dogs and cats. I've read horses, goats, ducks. People have brought me to their farms to hire me to go through the list of like rabbits
Mhm.
and give this information. I just did this like within the past year. A lady not far from here had me come, and I read her sheep and told her who was pregnant, how many babies they were going to have, and one of them was not getting pregnant anymore and she wanted to know why. So we talked about that. So, yeah,
I'm not
animals.
joking. You have to come stay at my Airbnb. I'm like, I have so many communications with all of my ducks and my tortoises and all of the like Florida native birds here. I feel so incredibly connected to. And I'm like, I need to hear what you are picking up to see if I'm on the right path because I don't always trust essentially my knowing because it's not like something people talk about commonly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting area. They communicate just like sometimes it's words, sometimes it's feelings. When you channel somebody who either doesn't speak English or speaks another language, right? That's not really a barrier because love is the same in all language. So you can feel what they're saying, you can see what they're saying. Like I can tell somebody's talking to me in a different language, but I know exactly what they're saying, right? Because
Hmm.
spirit translates it for you. Animals are the same way. They have their own language, they have their own sounds, they have their own motions and emotions, and that is communicated through spirit.
Is there a special training for that or not really? It's just the same as regular mediumship?
Not really a special training. I find that people who, like many, many years ago, there was the pet psychic that was
Mhm,
on,
Mhm.
early morning show, quite a bit. And, that was just the area that she chose. Some people will choose different parts of, some people are just psychic. I'm only going to tell you the future. Some people are
Okay.
just mediumship. I'm
Yeah.
not telling you anything future.
mhm.
And pets are just another area of this is just what I'm going to do. I did a pet show a couple years ago. I had paid for a table and I was going to charge, a couple of dollars. Bring me your dog, bring me whatever. And I was going to read them. I ended up not charging anybody. And I
Oh.
was there for 3 hours reading all different kinds of animals. And it was just because I loved it. Wasn't that I
It
was going to
gives the
benefit
animals a
from it.
voice, I think.
Well, we had a lot of animals that were, they were in pain or there was something going on. They didn't like their food. They had stomach issues. And sometimes an owner doesn't recognize it. And sometimes an owner does because you're connected to your animal, but just can't tell exactly what it is. So that's where I can come in and help bridge that gap between that communication. But I will tell you, nothing gets a person crying more in a session than me talking about their animal. I could talk about their mother. I could talk about them winning lottery. Nobody cries like when I'm talking about their dog.
It's probably so unexpected, you know?
Yeah.
Is there something that someone has to do, like, to get that specifically? So, like, if they were to book a session with you, do you have, like, a notes section where you say, like, "I directly just want an animal reading,"
You
either
can.
for your animal that you currently have or to try to connect with one that has passed? Can they request that?
You can. And I do recommend, if that is your goal, is only to talk to an animal, is to
Mhm.
definitely say, I'd like to connect to my dog, or I'd like to connect to my
Okay.
cat. I did have a lady who hired me for an hour. I went out to her office. And it was funny because when I walked in, there were cats everywhere, like all pictures of her cats. And I didn't get it that she wanted me to only talk to her cat. Instead, I talked about to her husband and her girlfriend. And we had an hour session about that. But all she wanted to do was talk about her cat. So, yes, if you only want to talk about your animal, definitely indicate that in the beginning. And I usually will ask in the beginning of a session, is there anything that you would like to focus on? And I tell people, during a session, you want me talking more than you talking.
Oh, yeah.
Always you want me doing more talking. I will stop at certain points and be like, okay, is this the right energy? Is this correct? Do you understand this? And then go further. I never need you to tell me anything more than just, what I asked. Like, is this your dad? Is this, you know, what he's saying? Does that make sense to you? So that I can go forward, so I can make sure that I'm in the right energy.
Yeah.
It's like, "Yes, this service is therapeutic, but this is not therapy.
Mm.
And
I
a
don't wanna
lot of
hear the story
people,
behind it. Don't feed the medium. Let me give you what you came for."
right. And that's, to that point, also, a lot of people do use me as therapy, and
Mhm.
that's fine. I don't, mind that. I understand that sometimes going to therapy takes a long time to get to a point. I don't have the restrictions that a therapist does. I can say anything I want. So I can get there usually very quick. So it's okay to use me as therapy, but you absolutely want me talking more than you talking in a session. That's what you paid for. And you never know what I'm going to say.
Yep.
Like, you really don't.
Yeah.
Like, one time I'm doing a session and this horse comes up next to me and I'm telling the lady about the horse, and she just, her whole face, like, what? I grew up on a farm and that's my horse from being 9 years old and blah, 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 blah.
Aw.
I mean, you just never know what I'm going to say. I never know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about it, is that I just never know what we're going to talk about,
Mhm.
where we're going to go. The stories, again, for me, have completely overwhelmed my life and just fulfilled my life in a way that I had never expected. Um, and I have a ton of stories. So.
Well, Sandra, you are part of my emotional healing journey. So why don't you guide us on how some of this mediumship might look through the lens of emotional healing?
So a lot of people tend to think with mediumship, it's just connecting with those on the other side. But how can we use mediumship in different shifts of our lives? So you talked about health things, and maybe there's a divorce, or you don't know who you are. You're trying to figure out who you are. So besides connecting with someone on the other side, what are other ways that mediumship can help support different shifts in someone's life?
So I think the one thing that we've touched on is just acceptance,
Yes.
is recognition. I think most of the people that are in the middle of a shift, they don't recognize that they're in the middle of it. But the way to recognize is to accept what your reality is,
Mm.
accept where you are, the point that you're at. And then recognizing that will also help show you what's changing around you,
Okay.
what's shifting around you, what's moving around you. So, in the idea of what's going on the inside is also going on the outside, a lot of times people that are experiencing the shifts, they're having stomach problems. Well, why are you having stomach problems? Because stomach is the chakra of power and control. And you're losing power or you're losing control. Or somebody's trying to have power over you, somebody's trying to have control over you, and you're resisting it. So what's going on the inside of you is usually going on the outside of you. And moving through and recognizing that change and that shift, and those things have to get better and heal. That is how you can use that mediumship to help you through that shift. Recognize what's going on the inside of you is also going on the outside of you.
Yeah, that is so powerful because, how many times have people just gone to the doctor and they're just like, everything is fine. That, we don't see anything. We don't, imaging is all good. Your blood work is all good. And you're saying to yourself, but something is happening. And I can't, put my finger on it and all the things that I've done and all the ways that I try to support myself. And, there's just so many energies and emotions and all the things that can affect you internally with that alignment, with that understanding, with that clarity, as you say, can help kind of ease that up.
Yeah, the beginner level of Reiki teaches you that.
Okay.
That every part of your body is connected to a part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like if your knees hurt, you're having financial issues. Your financial self is warning you if you're having knee issues. Yep.
Now I want to know the whole map, Jennifer.
Well, then I'm like, well, what happens if you have a brain leak?
I mean, that's a good one. The brain leak
I
is
knew somebody once that had that,
Yeah, if they're having like
like a
they
CSF leak type thing.
broken blood vessel or any sort of memory issue, it's because you don't want to accept the truth. Generally, when something with the brain is happening, something legal is happening. Court case, challenges. Sometimes it's also violent. Anything with the brain.
I want it all, Jennifer. I want to learn so much between the Reiki, the reconnective Reiki, and then learning about this.
There's an app. I can send over the app. Let me just see. It has exactly what I'm talking about. So, like, again, the knees, let me just bring it up for you.
Yeah.
And it's called Healthy Body.
I'm looking
And
this baby up right now.
So, for example, throat is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, so the affirmation, of course, is I love my throat, which of course we've been, using all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the throat is bothering you, this is if your throat is bothering you, you're usually having trouble saying the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you're being oppressed and you need to use your voice and you need to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're at work and you're noticing that your throat is always bothering you, it's usually because there's some truth that you have to speak up and you're preventing yourself from speaking up, and that's why it hurts.
Huh.
But it also can be associated with creativity. So my throat is my avenue of expression and creativity. I sing with great joy. So it's kind of funny that Jennifer continues to sing all day because her method was I'm faking it till I make it, right? So I'm going to continually try to sing. Jennifer, you're continually trying to get that energy through. And even though at some point, not right now, it might not match, but at some point, that energy of you singing and expressing and that creativity will match in your life to what you're doing. You just continue to sing and it will match on the other side.
Oh, no wonder I sound like what are those stupid movies where they sing through them? What are those things called? Like those movies like Oz or whatever, that one that just came out, Wicked, and then they sing through the whole thing. What are that?
Yeah,
What's that?
musicals.
Yeah, musicals. I hate musicals, but dear God, I sound like I am a musical walking around here singing everything, but I hate going to a musical, but that part's not even relevant. But I'm gonna
Cut.
keep that energy flowing. I'm like,
Exactly.
let's do the dishes today.
Just lead your life through song. Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Well, there's a couple things I would love to just get in before you leave us because you're full of knowledge. I know we could talk to you forever, but another thing that was just so intriguing to me is you were talking about abundance and how aligning with the psychic side of things made abundance so much easier. So how does that work? And why do you think that is that it happened that way?
Okay, so the key to abundance is alignment and alignment with what the universe wants for you.
Mm-hmm.
We may have our own plans, but the universe always takes over. The universe is always in charge.
Yeah.
We are not in charge. So once we align with what the universe is telling us and what the universe wants for us, then money, abundance, blessings are all easier to come by.
Hmm.
And so, yes, I avoided the word psychic for a very long time for a lot of reasons. I was trying to be an intellectual, right? I was trying to be a lawyer. I was trying to be smart. And the universe was like, no, you're going to help people in a different way. And as soon as I allowed myself to accept that, it just became so much easier. I just saw the appointments, booking quicker and quicker. And that is how that worked. So, for each individual person, alignment is going to look different.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes alignment is going back to school.
Yeah.
Sometimes alignment is letting the divorce happen. Sometimes the alignment is going to be, different and separation and change. That's going to be what alignment is going to look like. But in a lot of ways, alignment is one of the best keys. If you're taking anything away from this session, look for the alignment. Align with what the universe is telling you. And then the other big key is acceptance. Acceptance of where you are, acceptance of this moment is temporary, and acceptance of there is always going to be change. There is always going to be shifts that happen.
Yeah.
Those are the things to take away from, this session, is that acceptance and alignment.
And I often find, that is that stage 1 of Shift 101, right? Is the nudge. And whatever that nudge is typically the universe trying to get your attention in the direction that it wants you to go, regardless of all the how-tos and the things that go with it. It's usually that stage 1 of Shift 101 is the nudge. Do you have at this moment a particular shift you're working on?
So your podcast coming to me and being presented and asked to come on is just like God's way of having a little bit of a sense of humor. And in the last 5 years for me, there have been a lot of changes and a lot of shifts. And some of them have happened a lot quicker than I wanted them to happen. Sometimes you have to keep up with what's going on. So in changing the way that I do psychic parties and changing how I am operating, changing how I am doing my work. And some of that does include social media and learning to be comfortable filming, learning to be comfortable on camera, and learning to be comfortable recorded. When we did do the filming of Unpolished, I realized I loved it. I was surprised at how much I loved it. It was the, again, sense of humor of the universe.
Well, as we wrap up our conversation today, are there any final words or insights that you would like to leave our listeners with? Something meaningful, maybe that will help them along their spirit journey?
Yeah, the best thing that people can do is just to be confident in themselves. Be confident they're protected. Be confident that they are not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really the only difference between me as where I am reading and you, Sandra, from your, starting point, is just the confidence that I know I'm getting the information the way I'm supposed to be getting it. Is just that. It's just exactly that. And so the more confident you are in yourself and more confident that you are guided, the quicker you're going to grow in that spiritual side.
So one of the things that we do here on the podcast is something called a shift activation. It's a invitation to our listeners to take some of the things that we talked about on that particular podcast and dive a little deeper. And with our conversations today, I have an invitation to do some writing around what we talked about. And as you mentioned, using a journal can help you hone in on that psychic and intuitive powers. So one of the things that I'm inviting our listeners to do is to take a 7-day inventory of like You know, when you have those gut feelings or those like random nudges, or if you think your dream was incredibly vivid, all the things that we talked about, or, you know, someone's watching you make mashed potatoes or whatever. I want you to take 7 days and just
Hmm.
just listen and receive. And even if you think it's something that's actually touching you or gas, write it down because you never know, right? Like that little pressure in your belly or that nervousness that you're feeling. Like I always attribute it to, oh, I'm anxious. I have anxiety. And my husband's like, but what are you nervous about? And I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I need to sit with it and say, okay, inner self, like, what are you feeling? Is it outside? Is it so I would love to just challenge everyone to take a good 7 days, and anything that pops up that is not necessarily your day to day or something that you feel like is that you're receiving, write those out. And at the end of those 7 days, approach it with curiosity, right? Like what was happening? You know, why did that dream resonate so much? Were there certain symbols in those dreams? Were there certain things? And I think it's just an opportunity to be curious with yourself and what is coming to you or what's around you. And you might see certain patterns or you might see certain areas that say, I need to look deeper into this. So that is my shift activation for today.
I love that. You're the best at these shift activations. Well, anybody that has enjoyed this conversation today and is just as excited to meet with Jennifer and follow her, just go to our website under Shift Whispers. You'll see her picture. Once you click on it, it will take you to get connected to her. So if anyone today popped into your mind while you were listening to this, that is 100% the universe's sign that you need to send this episode to them. Text it to them now. Don't wait. Don't second guess it. Just do it. And remember, go make your delicious sip and know that you always have us to talk shift. Take care.
And that's it for today's shift. Thank you so much for sharing this space with us. If you're loving the conversation, become a shifty. Like, follow, subscribe, and most of all, share this episode with someone who's shifting too, or someone who seriously needs to get their shift together.
Do you have thoughts, questions, topic requests, or maybe you're feeling the nudge to collaborate? Visit us at shiftsisterpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. We're so grateful for your presence, your friendship, and your willingness to do the work with us. Because shift happens and we're not meant to do it alone.
We'll meet you back here next time to breathe, reflect, and talk shift.